So Danmachi season 4, or is it wrong to try and pick up a girl in a dungeon? Season 4 part 2 finally finished, and I can't lie, season 4 is most definitely the best season. One, because they actually stay in the dungeon, like for once, because you know all the other seasons they sometimes they go in and out the dungeon, but we usually see them more outside in the regular world. But then this season 90% of the anime is in the dungeon. And also this season did have more episodes than every other season, so of course it was going to be the best one, because every other season usually gets what, like 12 episodes, where this one got 22. So yes, it was going to obviously be a better season because we got way more stuff in there. But yes, fire season. Everything about it was good. Bale has some amazing character development. Some of the best he's ever had. Because, you know, early on, Bale was one of them characters that, you know, sometimes he would whine a little bit. It just seemed like that sometimes. And, you know, he is a white knight, and we all know that. He's the biggest white knight in all of anime. This man is Mr. Captain Save-A-Ho. Every season he does that. And, I mean, this season was no exception with him and Ryu trapped in the dungeon. But at the same time, they had to like fight with each other that they can, you know, get out of there, so they had to fight together. Where other seasons you're usually fighting for just the girl while the girl's trapped. Like, you know, I think that was season 2 Horihime, and then season 1 was Lily, and then season 3 was the dragon girl, like the dragon monster girl. So yeah, there's always some type of girl he's saving in each season. This one just happened to be Ryu, but the difference was like they were fighting together to get out this dungeon because they were trapped in there. And trust me, they were trapped. Like each episode, and especially in part 2, had you wondering like, how are they gonna get out of this? As you had the rest of the Hestia Familia with Makoto and all of them slowly but surely trying to make it down there, but they are never going to make it there in time to help them, sadly. But yeah, everything was good. Let's talk about part 1 and part 2, because honestly, I kind of like part 1 a little bit better, mainly because we got to see Bale's character development early on, and we got to see like how much he learned from like last season. Because you know, last season when everybody was not liking the monster girl, even though like he liked the monster girl, and it was shown that like the monsters and the humans would never get along. So like, you know, he took that and actually developed his character, and he actually learned something. So that's why I was happy. And then we go into this one, and he's level 4, and he's going through the dungeon wiping stuff out. Yes, he does have some stuff happen when it comes to like the moss monster, but then he actually like goes up and beyond and defeats the moss monster until Ryu comes, and that's when, you know, all his character development goes out the window, and he's like, I'll believe anything Ryu says because I know she's nice. I know she did not kill them people in that Familia. She would never do this. And, you know, that's the little thing of Bale being Captain Save-A-Ho and Mr. White Knight. So, like, that comes out. But, I mean, Bale's always going to be the White Knight. He's always going to go and save a girl because that's what he does. Because, you know, that's why the title says, is it wrong to pick up a girl in the dungeon? Because he's always going to run after and help a girl out, because he always wants to be the shining knight in armor that he can help out each and all these girls. That's what it seems like every time. But, I mean, that wasn't really that bad, because then we got to get Ryu's backstory, and her backstory was really good. Even though I will say, the only slight I can say on this season is when it comes to her Familia, and then, like, the one, was it, like, the Juggernaut, whatever it's called, that thing. It's like, it was kind of sad that the way they did it was like they had them get washed that fast, when it's like, in all actuality, like I've had friends that read the light novels, I don't think it happens that fast. There should have been like a little bit more there, but it just seemed like it happened way too damn fast. And especially because they were fleshing out them this whole season, just to like, we finally see how they died, and they die that fast. There should have been like a little bit more fight there, just to add more to, you know, the fighting, just to make the fight a little bit better, instead of just having it just happen like that. Because especially because there are level 4s that have been doing this for years, and then you have Bell, who just chops his arm off like after getting his arm put back, when, you know, but at the same time Bell's the main character, so of course he's going to be able to do that. And also the final fight was kind of hella anticlimactic, especially because they've been through all this, and we get to this final fight, and it's just Ryu finally accepting the passing of all her friends, and then she just powers up and then kills it like that. I'm just thinking like, damn, couldn't you done this like early on? But you know, it just makes you think that, because like the way it just happened so fast, it just makes you think like, damn, this could have been happening, and y'all could have been got through this. But I mean, we needed that development for Ryu to actually accept her friend's death, because this whole time she has not accepted their death, and she's always been on this revenge type of like path. Even though she's had a little help when it comes to Sire and when she works as the maid, but at the same time she's still always had these feelings of regret and all that type of stuff. And in this season, she finally got to like let those feelings go away, and she actually realized that like it's okay that they passed away, and she finally came to terms with their deaths and like their sacrifice to save her. So now that's what I really liked about her story, that we got to see all that, because that was actually really interesting. And I was happy that Ryu got some shine, because Ryu is one of the characters that actually deserved to be shine. Ever since season 1, we've always heard stuff about her, and now we finally got to see like what actually happened and what caused her to be like this rogue type of person who's actually wanted by the guild and all that, and like why she's called the Gale Wing and all this. So we got to learn her backstory. I will say, It did kind of suck also too when like we got to see her be like the Gale Wing and like go and like hunt down that one familiar that it just happened like that. I wish we would have got like a little bit longer. I just wish it low-key feels like we should have got 2 more episodes. We should have got like a full 24 for this season, just that we could have got like 2 extra like things and they could have sprinkled stuff in there. But at the same time, it was still a really good season, like really good. The fights all around were really good. When it comes to Hestia's familiar with Makoto, Cassandra, and then Aisha and Daphne that came to help, their fight against that one floor boss, the dragon thing with the 2 heads, was fire, because each episode would have you wondering like, dog, how are they going to get past this? Especially when it came to their group, because they were struggling, because they got messed up when it comes. That dragon was putting them in, like messing them up. That dragon was thinking, outsmarting them. That man literally dove into the water, made sure Makoto was trapped down there, had them little piranhas biting her. Yeah, that dragon gate did a number on them. And then you have Wealth, whatever his name, I think his name like Wealth, whatever his name is. Yeah, you had him like making that one invincible sword, which was kind of dope. The one thing I will say I did kind of hate was that when the one party that showed up with the 3 maids and then like the one girl that's from Hephaestus familia, the leader there, like the team leader that's there. The one thing I will say is it kind of sucked that we didn't get to see them like go down there and like rescue Belle, and we got to see like all of them fight the monster. I feel like that would have been dope if we saw them, but at the same time, Ryu needed that stuff. She needed that closure when it comes to her friends. But at the same time, I was hoping we would get to see all of them in action together, just because like I know the 3 cat girls, or the 3 maids I should say, I know they're like nice. I know the 2 cat girls, I know Chloe, and then like the 1 human girl there. I know all 3 of them are nice, and then you even have like the blacksmith girl that's the leader. I knew all of them were nice, and I kind of wanted to see them like, you know, at their full power, just as that we could have saw that. It would have been dope to see that, but hey, can't be mad because we still got to see them in action a little bit. But yeah, really good season. I can't wait until like season 5 when they announce it, because this is obviously going to get season 5. This is not like when they did season 1 where it took like years for it to get new seasons. This one is like they're going to get it eventually. It's going to happen sometime in the future. They're going to announce it because Danmachi is very popular. They make so much of their money off their mobile games, and I'll tell you, their mobile games sell crazy. Like these gotchas, their gotchas give them so much money. That's why they're always going to be able to make new seasons, because they have so much money that they can like make another season. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I want to be surprised if they announce it like next year or something like that, or later this year, because it's going to get one because it's super popular. It would be dumb for them not to get another season. Like that would be them fumbling the bag. Like they would be missing out on so much money if they did not put out another season. But yeah, then the following, I know the next season's going to it should deal with the Freya stuff. I know eventually, I know there's like I think there's like a volume 15 that's kind of like, doesn't really matter that much, but I know it's like 16, I think, is like when the Freya stuff comes, and that's when Danmachi is going to get really good, because the next season should be the best season, because it's going to deal with the Freya stuff, because like Freya is literally what this series is all been building up to her, because like she's basically the one behind the scenes that we've been waiting to see, that we can see like her take actions, because we've been seeing this in season 1 that she's been thirsty for Belle. So like the next season should finally show us like what she's all been planning, what she's trying to do. But yeah, if you watched Danmachi season 4, part 2 and part 1, let me know how you felt about it, because this was a really good season from start to finish. It was so good, because the character development from Belle was phenomenal. Yes, he was a knight in shining armor, because that's what he always is. He's a white knight. He's gonna save a hoe whenever he needs to save a hoe. When he sees a girl needs saving, that man's gonna run and save her. He did not listen to J. Cole. J. Cole said, don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Belle's like, nah, I can save her. So yeah, just know that Belle does not listen to J. Cole at all, because he's going to save any girl that he sees, and that's Belle. But at the same time, we got that good character development. I'm happy about that. We got some Ryu backstory. Now we just need other characters that need some backstory, but season 5, we should get a lot of more interesting stuff, especially fights. The fights in this season were really good. They weren't the best. I will say the best fight most definitely was in part 1, when it was like Belle versus that Moss thing. That was like the best fight. Because like some of the fights in part 2 were kind of, man, I will say the dragons, I will say like the 2 dragons thing when Hestia's Familia and like Makoto, all of them were fighting, was kind of nice. I'll say that's probably the second best fight. And also I will say this season shows that like, why didn't Cassandra, Daphne, and Aisha just join the Hestia Familia? Like, dog, they fit in so well there. Like they did not need to go to all these other familias. They could have just went to their familias and been part of their familias. It makes no sense of why they're not, because it's like anytime they're going to need help, they're going to join them anyway. But yeah, this season's phenomenal. See, this is what you do when you actually take advantage of like what your anime is about. So like the first 3 seasons I should say, Danmachi was like barely in the dungeon, but this season we're in the dungeon majority of the anime. There's only like a few scenes. There might be like one episode where they're not out the dungeon, but majority of this, they were in the dungeon. From start to finish, basically. There was like one episode at the beginning that's just in preparation to go into the dungeon. After that, it was always in the dungeon, besides like scenes of like people that are outside the dungeon. But the main familia, they were in the dungeon from episode 2 and onwards, basically. And it was phenomenal. because we finally got to see stuff with the dungeon, because the dungeon's what we've all been waiting for. Instead of just always just like seeing stuff outside the dungeon, then we go in the dungeon a little bit, then outside. Finally, we just got a season where it's basically all dungeon, and that's why it was really good though. But yes, please watch Danmachi Season 4. You can watch it on High Dive, or, you know, hop on your pirate ship. You can watch it that way too, though. But it was a phenomenal season, and I'm so damn happy because it was so good. Every episode, especially Part 2. Part 2 had you on the edge of your seat because we were always wondering, like, how are Bell and Ryu gonna make it out of this? Because it didn't seem like they were. Like, for every episode, I was on the edge of my seat just wondering, like, how is this going to end? But it was so damn good. If you're new, why not subscribe? If you enjoyed the video, not like. If you didn't, if you dislike, subscribe, you really enjoyed. But yes, Danmachi Season 4, peak season, best season in Danmachi. Like, it's going to only get better from here out, and I'm happy. But this was the best season by far, because this was way better than all the other seasons, because it had so much else going for it, though. But yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you next video, though. Bye.